Canadians believe that freedom of expression is a fundamental Canadian value, even when that expression is sometimes offensive. If freedom of expression means anything, it means the right to publish controversial or even sometimes offensive speech. It doesn't mean we have to like it, and it doesn't mean we have to endorse it, but we have to tolerate it. That's the price of freedom.
The price of freedom, and of course, not surprisingly, in light of the terrorist attack in Paris, Voltaire's books are flying off the shelves. Of course, he is credited for infamously saying, "I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." Well, should freedom of speech be limited? This is an ongoing discussion. We're going to continue it here on Sun News, and to do that, I'm joined, of course, by our Sun News contributors Faith Goldie and Paige McPherson. And someone who is just in the thick of this debate about free speech is and is also joining us. His name is Jerry Reddick. He's known as the dog father on university campus at Dalhousie University because he sells hot dogs. Jerry, welcome to all of you for starters. I want to bring you in first and foremost here, Jerry, to tell us a little bit about this investigation that the police have conducted started against you for your anti-Semitic tweets, as they're calling them.
Well, I don't think you can really call it anti-Semitic because I am from the Semitic people. Okay, I am Semitic myself. So but anyways, what it was I wanted to put a point, make a very, very clear point that freedom of expression is limited, because if you are not offended by them putting a bomb in the head of somebody named Muhammad, you know what I mean? But if you turn around and do the same thing against somebody who is Jewish, then that's offensive.
Okay, so I want to read your tweet. We have them here. One says, "Give a Jew a, quote, oven as a gift if you want to make them feel all warm all over. Hashtag free speech works both ways. What does one Jew say to the other Jew when they walk by a hot oven? Do you recognize anyone? Hashtag freedom to insult Muhammad and the Jews." I guess my question to you is, do you believe this, or is this just you trying to make a point?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make a point. I'm trying to make a very, very clear point. Hey, listen, the perpetrator of the crime, right, said that during this transatlantic slave trade, 30 million Africans died. And that's the perpetrator of the crime giving that number, okay? So we understand what genocide is. We understand. And I'm not saying that it is all good, it's all right. But you can't have a double standard is what I'm saying. We live in a country where everybody's equal. You know what I mean? Because most of the guys here going to school are from the Middle East, and right? Me, I'm a 19th generation Canadian. So I understand, I see for a fact our double standard we have. And I just wanted to point that out with a sledgehammer. Okay,
I want to bring Faith Goldie and Paige McPherson to this discussion as well, because some would say around us here at Sun News, we all believe in one way, shape, or form, but we have very nuanced perspectives on much of this. Faith, I want to start with you. He claims to be making a point, to show the other side that there are limitations to freedom of speech. Do you agree?
Of course, in this country we've got hate speech laws, and with all due respect over to their dog father, I think that some of your tweets might actually violate some of those laws, which frankly I find illiberal. So my condolences to you for that. Whether or not you should be investigated by the police, whether or not they should be trolling your Twitter feeds, I'm sorry to say, but this is just the nature of the beast and a sign of the times. With the rise of radical Islam, which incorporates in it, I'm dead serious here, sir, anti-Semitism, it is important that Canadian authorities do troll Twitter and ensure that no one gets by them. And while I understand that your intentions are apparently, allegedly, much more moral than, say, folks who actually want to go out there and put Jews in an oven, it is the job of our law enforcement to differentiate you from the rest, sir. This is your right to say these sorts of things, while I disagree with them, but perhaps you miss the point that Charlie Hebdo was criticizing Jews, sir, but Jews did not put on balaclavas and arm themselves with Kalashnikovs. So this has been going on since the dawn of time. Ridicule of Islam, just like it has been a ridicule of Judaism and Christianity. The actions have been very parallel among all three Abrahamic faiths. It's the reactions that differ, sir.
Paige McPherson.
Hey, Dogfather. So I went to Dalhousie and I bought hot dogs from your stand several times. I even interviewed you as a student journalist on a piece that I was doing on kosher food, so maybe you remember me. I had family that died in the Holocaust. In fact, my great aunt was interviewed for Schindler's List. Her story was so horrific, and obviously I won't go into that story Now, I would say this is a case of, even though you can say something, you probably shouldn't, doesn't mean that you should say something. Now, I would defend to the death the dogfather's right to say these things, for sure. And I'm not sure, though, that I agree that it's quite an even comparison, because I don't think that the dogfather and 11 other people are going to be murdered because of these tweets. I just don't see that happening. Now, obviously, somebody made a complaint and police are investigating this, and I find that a shame, not only because it's a violation, I think, of our freedom in Canada to be able to say whatever we want and say whatever offensive Holocaust things that we want. I can tell you that my sister, who's Jewish and is on Dal campus right now, will absolutely not be buying hot dogs from the dogfather like I did, because you've taken the chance now, dogfather, to expose yourself as somebody who would make excessive jokes about the Holocaust to try and prove the point. Now, what's sad as well about the fact that your freedoms are being violated here, which I am regretful of, is that you're vindicated. The police investigating this kind of proves the dogfather's point here. It kind of vindicates what he's saying. And although I don't think it's an even comparison, I don't think it's an even comparison to satirize religion, comparing that to a massive genocide, because I don't see people really making jokes about any other kind of genocide. I don't think that's a very common thing. And I don't think it's an even comparison because nobody's being killed here. But at the same time, it's unfortunate that this is being investigated, I think, because it vindicates these sick jokes.
Okay, Jerry, I absolutely want to give you an opportunity to respond, but we'd have to take a short break. But all three of my guests are going to stay with me. We'll hear what Jerry's response is to Paige and Faith in a moment. Stay tuned. I find what he's written abhorrent. I find it distasteful, and I find it wrong and unacceptable. And yes, you mentioned the hate speech laws, but I have to tell you, I lean towards the fact that, if we are going to have free speech as an absolute right, where do we draw the line?
Right, and I think that it should be that invoking or inciting murder, not inciting hate, not inciting poor feelings, whatever it is. It's inciting murder. That should be the ultimate line. I think that is a reasonable line, and that's fine.
Okay, all right, Jerry, I'm not sure if you heard what I said. Did you hear what I had to say? I wanted to give you the last word. Would you like me to repeat what I said?
I heard what you said, but first I'd like to say, who was the last speaker you had there?
Faith.
Okay, Paige. I mean, what an absolute balanced criticism that is. I mean, I just think that's great, but listen, I wanted to invoke conversation because, like, I'm a 19th generation Nova Scotian. My family's been here almost 500 years, and I wanted to invoke conversation that, we can't have a double standard in this country. You can't, like, depict a prophet, of Islam, with a bomb in his head, and then say that that's not hate speech, and then turn around and if you say one thing about another tribe, then you are committing a hate crime. Like, I just can't see the balance there. That's what I try to invoke. This is the conversation I try to invoke with my tweets.
Well, and now you're being investigated for it. So what have the police said to you, Jerry?
Well, there's going to be no real investigation because, I mean, they're going to open up that Pandora's box. I mean, there's no way they're going to open up that.
I just again want to be very clear. Your view on what happened in Paris last week. What do you think of those guys that perpetrated that attack?
I think, listen, let's not forget, there are 73 sects of Muslims, okay? So I don't know what that guy believed, okay? But there are 73 sects of Muslims, like there are 72 sects of Jews, and there are 72 sects of Christians, and 71 sects of Jews. So I don't know what this guy in Paris believed, but I completely am against anything he did over there because it does not represent what I believe, right? But at the same time, like, if you're going to criticize, because even the newspaper itself says, "Oh, we have limits of who we can criticize." They said that.
But do you, Jerry? Just last question. Do you believe that showing these cartoons, regardless of who they offend or satire, or what not in the case may be, because Jews and Catholics and Hindus and Sikhs get satirized all over the world, do you think that it's fair?
Jews get satirized?
Yes.
Well, not in this country.
For example, the New York Times
anti-Semitic.
printed a cartoon of Holocaust denial, but the New York Times didn't print the Muhammad cartoon. So they were happy to offend Jews that had suffered in the Holocaust. I tweeted it at you this morning, Dogfather, but they were.
Oh, I didn't.
That's fine. I'm telling you as it is. So I mean, you can look that up. So they were happy to offend Jews that had suffered in the Holocaust, but they would not actually offend Muslims that would be offended by seeing the Prophet. So I mean, yes, that's not our country, but it is in New York.
Yeah, it was. Jerry, Faith, Paige, I appreciate all three of you being here. Candid discussion. Best of luck to you, Jerry. Again, I find your analogies distasteful and abhorrent, but in my Canada, you have the right to say them.